Welcome to Davos, a charming Swiss village where, for 5 days a year, the world's most powerful people gather to solve the problems they usually spend the other 360 days creating. To get here, you have to pass surface-to-air missiles bolted into the mountains. Nothing says we're here to discuss global peace quite like heavy artillery aimed at the clouds. The entire town undergoes a multi-million-dollar facelift. Local cafes and shoe stores are gutted and rebranded into houses for AI startups and tech firms desperate for a sniff of legitimacy. It is essentially geopolitical cosplay, with a side of free caviar and vintage champagne. In the past, the Russians tried to buy diplomacy with luxury goods. They literally filled a house with the most expensive bubbles money could buy, hoping everyone would forget about Crimea. It didn't work. Now, the Ukraine house stands in its place, while the elite spend their nights in a frantic competition to see who can throw the most lavish party. It's a giant high-stakes nightclub where journalists, lobbyists, and spies mix over free cocktails. Professionalism is the first casualty of an open bar.
The atmosphere this year? Pure anxiety. Everyone was glued to their phones, watching Donald Trump post pictures of American flags on Greenland. Instead of standing firm, world leaders began a frantic game of preemptive flattery, texting him like teenagers trying to secure a prom date. Diplomacy has been reduced to a collective panic attack.
When Trump's entourage arrived via multiple helicopters, it was a frenzy. Dignified politicians were practically wrestling each other in the hallways just to get into the room. Inside, the rhetoric was even more surreal. Trump reminded everyone that, without him, they'd all be speaking different languages. The audience responded with a cocktail of nervous laughter and audible gasps. The entire town felt less like a summit and more like a hostage situation, where the kidnapper has a very long tie.
Then we have the exclusive breakfasts. I sat meters away from the head of NATO and several prime ministers. The Prime Minister of Belgium stood up to defend the sanctity of Russian money, claiming that freezing assets would be an act of war, even as his country buys more Russian gas. It's a bold strategy, pretending we aren't at war while the person next to you is plotting how to fund the defense.
Enter Steve Witkoff, Trump's representative and self-proclaimed peace negotiator. He stood there, fresh from his 6th or 7th trip to Moscow, echoing Kremlin talking points, while the mayor of Kyiv watched in disbelief. He spoke of referendums held at gunpoint as if they were local bake sales.
The most disturbing part? Despite his blatant financial ties to Russia, mainstream media outlets who spent millions on their fancy Davos headquarters asked him exactly 0 difficult questions. Why? Because they're all in the same club. They party together, drink together, and laugh at the same jokes. Journalism isn't supposed to be a VIP lounge, but at Davos, the line between reporter and courtier is non-existent.
Finally, President Zelensky took the stage. He didn't ask for charity, he told Europe to grow up. He pointed out that while Europe relies on the idea of NATO, no one has actually seen the alliance do much lately. He described Europe as a salad of small powers seasoned with enemies. It was the cold shower the continent needed. Surprisingly, it might have worked. Shortly after, France actually enforced maritime rules against a Russian shadow fleet boat. Perhaps this is the moment Europe realizes that the American security umbrella has some very large holes in it. So, that was Davos, a week meant for solutions that mostly just highlighted the problems. We came for the grand visions, but we stayed for the hypocrisy. Until next year, if I'm not blacklisted from the party circuit for asking too many questions.